World geography, United States and Canada. Urbanization. Here are the learning objectives. Number 1, describe the benefits of urbanization. Number 2, discuss the structure of the modern urban area. Number 3, what factors determine the location of an urban area? Number 4, compare urban areas in less developed nations to those in the more developed world. Number 5, how does urban sprawl increase infrastructure costs? Urban possibilities. Process of urbanization. Urbanization, it's on the rise. It's increasing throughout the world. And in 2008, more than half of the world's population lived in towns and cities. Future urban growth is going to be concentrated in Africa and Asia. Benefits of urbanization. Benefits of the urban lifestyle include at least 3 things. Number 1, cities generate jobs and income. Number 2, cities deliver education, healthcare, and other services more efficiently because of advantages of scale and proximity. Number 3, social mobilization, which is motivating people to participate in causes to improve the lives of oneself and others. So social mobilization and women's empowerment, these are much more common in cities. Cities also relieve population pressure on surrounding natural habitats and areas of biodiversity. Urban definitions. Urban area development. Urban areas develop around a main city called the central city. Sometimes we refer to this as the downtown area. Immediately surrounding the central city are residential suburbs. The suburban residents may commute to jobs in the central city via train, bus, or their own automobiles. On the extreme outskirts of the central city are exurbs. And exurbs are smaller, semi-rural towns with some open land between them and the suburbs. But they're still a functional part of the main city. The central city, suburbs, and exurbs link together economically, and they form a functional region, which we call the metropolitan area. A megalopolis is when several metropolitan areas grow together. Here you have a simple diagram of a central city surrounded by some light manufacturing, and then several areas of different suburbs and exurbs. Urban locations. Urban area characteristics. Cities are usually found in these areas: near places where there's good transportation. That can be near river, lake, or coast, or where highways come together, or where rail networks meet. And cities are also usually found near access to natural resources. Cities are economic engines for the whole surrounding region, and they attract businesses and workers. Transportation hubs. Urban areas are often major transportation hubs. So, for instance, goods produced in the Great Lakes region, they may be sent forward to Chicago and then on to the East Coast and to the world. FedEx, a leader in logistics or the on-time delivery of products, it's headquartered at the busy and centrally located Memphis, Tennessee airport. Specialization. Due to unique location, some cities specialize in certain economic activities. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for example, it's located close to iron ore and coal sources. Therefore, it's famous for being a steel production center. Fort Lauderdale, Florida, it attracts retirees from the Northeast due to its pleasant climate. Educational institutions like universities, and military bases, these also attract people to a certain location. Urban sprawl. Less developed nations. In less developed nations, there is significant migration to urban areas as people are in search of social and economic opportunities. Pollution in the rural areas and conflict, they may drive people off the land and into the city. However, these rural people lack education and lack skills that are useful in the city, and many of them are very poor and must settle in the urban slums or shanty towns. In the shanty towns, there's a lack of access to decent housing and sanitation, little health care, and little access to education. So urbanization can tend to concentrate poverty in one area, but then it also provides possibilities for escaping it. Once people have a permanent address, a small house, even a shack, then they can access social welfare services and health care. And these things can break the cycle of poverty. United States and Canada. Urbanization is a little bit different in the more developed world. So in the United States and Canada, new housing and better public services and open space, they attract people away from the central city and into the suburbs. In fact, from 1970 to 1990, people moved away from the city center, and the population density of central cities decreased more than 20%. However, nowadays people are starting to move back to the central city so they can live closer to their jobs and save on the long commute in from the suburbs. In the past, the use of the automobile and the construction of highways, it encouraged people to live very far from work. But there are costs associated with that, and the cost of a long commute into work is traffic congestion, lost time sitting in the car, increased pollution. Infrastructure costs. Also, when you have highways that go way out into the suburbs, there can be heavy congestion on the roads. And the highways and the bridges often need constant maintenance. Streets and utilities construction, they also cost more in the suburbs than they do in the central city due to the increased distance between the homes or the residences. Social costs. There's some social costs for the people that live in the inner city. And when upper income persons, when they live out in the suburbs or the exurbs, then the lower income residents who cannot afford that, they become isolated in the inner city area. And in these isolated pockets of poverty in the inner city, they have limited access to affordable fresh food at grocery stores and less access to wholesome entertainment. The end. Thank you for listening.